Hello and a very warm welcome to Rajya Sabha Television with me, Frank Pereira. Well, the gloves are well and truly off and Bihar is heading towards a no-holds-barred contest between the self-proclaimed Secular Alliance and the NDA. The Mahagathbandhan may have been depleted, but as a Gathbandhan, it still packs a punch. The NDA has finally worked out its seat-sharing formula, but has not managed to silence all disgruntled voices. Over the next 2 months, we here at Rajya Sabha Television will bring you the latest from poll-bound state Bihar, where a riveting contest is on the cards. We will bring you live inputs and reporter insights to give you a sense of what is happening on the ground. Here are today's Verdict 2015 headlines. Stage set for Bihar polls. Analysts predict close contest between the BJP-led NDA alliance and Nitish-led Grand Alliance. 243 members assembly to go to polls in 5 phases from October 12th to November 5th. Counting of votes on November 8th. NDA constituent RLSP announces first list of 17 candidates for Bihar elections. Upendra Kushwaha accused of nepotism. BJP ally LJP too announces candidates for 9 seats amidst internal bickering. And with the negligible presence in Bihar, Shiv Sena jumps into the poll fray. Party to contest 150 seats. National spokesperson says party's list of candidates is ready and will be announced soon. Well, now that we've had a look at the headlines, let's look at how the election will unfold over the next 2 months, who the main actors are, and what will be new in these elections.
अभी तक शोबाजी के अलावा क्या किया है? 50 करोड़, 70 करोड़, 90 करोड़, कितना दे?
बात नहीं कहेंगे ये जुमला.
The political battle for Bihar raging in right earnest. Although it started well before the Election Commission announced the dates on September 9th, many were surprised that the polls to the 243-member assembly will be held in 5 phases. The first phase voting is for 49 seats on the 12th of October. The second phase will see 32 seats going to polls on the 16th of October. The third phase will account for 50 seats on October 28th. The fourth phase for 55 seats on November 1st, and the fifth phase for 57 seats on November 5th. Results of the contests will be announced on the 8th of November. The election process is spread over 3 months, mainly because of the festive season. Around 6.6 crore voters are eligible to cast their ballots. Voting will take place across 62,779 polling stations. The election is expected to be a keen contest between the BJP-led National Democratic Alliance and the Grand Alliance of the Janata Dal United, the Rashtriya Janata Dal and the Congress. In the run-up to the polls, top leaders sparked a bitter war of words. That continues to keep the voters engaged. The Prime Minister questioned the DNA of the Bihar Chief Minister.
एक चाय वाले के बेटे की थाली खींच ले, गरीब के बेटे की थाली खींच ले, लेकिन एक महादलित की तो सारी की सारी पूंजी, सारा पुण्य खींच करके ले लिया. भाइयों बहनों, तब मुझे लगा कि शायद डीएनए में ही कोई गड़बड़ है.
The JDU and RJD have kick-started what they call the Jumla Babu campaign to take on the Prime Minister.
वायदे को नहीं निभाया. चारों तरफ युवाओं में आकर्षण पैदा हुआ. नौकरी मिलेगी. क्या हुआ? नौकरी मिली. सरकारी आंकड़ों के मुताबिक 2,83,000 जी रोजगार पैदा हो सके. जो वादा किया उसका 1%.
भाइयों बहनों, बिजली आई, बिजली मिली तो बिजली. अरे मोदी जी ठीक से बोलो, नहीं तो नस फट जाएगा.
One of the firsts in this election will be candidate photographs on the electronic voting machines. Exit polls will be prohibited from the very first day of polling. Voter-verified paper audit trail will first be used in 36 constituencies spread over 34 districts. The Nota option will of course be available below the name of the last candidate. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha Television.
Well, joining me on Verdict 2015 today is Shaibal Gupta, Member Secretary, Asian Development Research Institute from Patna. A very warm welcome to you, Shaibal Gupta, and thank you for joining us on the program. What are the factors really that are going to influence the polls this time around in Bihar?
I think one of the key factors is, of course, development, because Bihar is one of the few states in the Hindi heartland which has been able to successfully steer in the last 10 years a growth figure of almost 10% in the last 10 years. So I think this is one of the most important things. Secondly, when Nitish Kumar came to power along with BJP, it was in 2005, it was coalition of extreme. Means people from the upper caste to the Dalit section were part of the coalition. That coalition got broken in 2013, and Nitish wanted to craft a coalition of the poor and the marginal. I think it did not succeed in the parliamentary election.
Indeed.
Ironically, it is BJP which is working out a coalition of extreme now. So from the upper caste to the Dalit, they have crafted that coalition. Nitish Kumar and Lalu Prasad is essentially working out the coalition of the marginal, poor and the middle caste. And Muslims are a very important part of this coalition. So essentially the election is going to take place on a bipolar stand, but there are two other fronts which has emerged.
Indeed.
Which may erode the support base of the Mahagathbandhan. One is a front led by Mulayam Singh's party, and other, there is a possibility that OAC is going to put up candidates in the Simachal Pradesh.
We'll talk about the fronts, some of the other fronts, of course, in just a bit. But before that, I want to talk to you about the caste. Now, caste has always played a significant role or a significant factor when it comes to Bihar. This time, too, everyone is, trying to figure out the caste formula. How much of an impact is it really going to have on these polls?
No, I think it is erroneous to say that caste is playing an important role in this election. Caste has always been important in the context of Bihar. In fact, caste is important in the Hindi heartland in general and India in particular. So saying that the caste is only playing now, that is not correct. But usually what happens when an upper caste coalition operates or upper caste led coalition of extreme operates, then the coinage of caste or reference of caste gets marginalized. For example, in 2005, when the coalition of extreme could win the election, or in 2010, the coalition of NDA could win the election, it was more or less elite-centric coalition. So at that time, reference of caste is negated. But whenever a counter coalition which is led by the poor and the marginal, then it is always referred as if caste is predominant.
Indeed.
Now in Bihar, caste is a very important factor. But I must tell you that in the last 70 years, there has been a continuous electoral democratization in Bihar. Even though there has not been any multi-caste social movement like in South India or in Western India, but electoral democratization has been there because of various peasant movement, communist movement, socialist movement, social justice movement, and Naxalite movement. And so democratization has taken place, and unlike other states, for example in UP or in many other places,
You know, Shaival Gupta, hold that thought. I'm going to come back to you in just a bit to get another reaction from you. But in the meantime, let's get a sense from the ground, of course. Let's go across to our correspondent, Vishal Dahiya, who joins us live from Patna right now. Vishal, give us a sense of the mood really on the ground. What is it that the voter is expecting? What is it that the voter is looking at?
Well, Frank, the voter as of now is sort of, waiting as to the political parties and the alliances which are in the fray should finalize their candidates. Now, most of them have been done in the last 24 to 48 hours. Most of the names of those candidates have been finalized. There are few others left. But then, because of this peculiar situation of two alliances contesting wherein, those two parties which were in power around, 2 years ago, that's JDU, BJP, they have now split ways. They are fighting in different coalitions. So there is a pressure on all the parties. They do not have that much number of seats in their kitty. So there is a pressure on all these parties to accommodate as much as they can. This, in turn, has brought in play the rebel effect. And most of these rebels are those leaders who have their ground level presence. So voters, as of now, what you asked is about the voter mood. Voters, as of now, are still not, have sort of started making up their mind. They will start doing so within a few couple of days more when the final lineup, specifically for the first phase of polls, is done. It is prepared, it is ready. The picture will be clear as to who is contesting on what party's ticket, and specifically the rebel factor in those areas where there are either sitting MLAs or they do have a considerable influence in those assembly segments. They will also be very they will also have a very crucial role to play. So as of now, it's a sort of a fluid situation in terms of the voters making up their mind. Even the political parties also finalizing their candidates. There are still some seats left. They're trying to placate rebels so that they do not harm the prospects of their official candidate. So one more step to go, and then the final game will begin as far as the first phase of polling is concerned. The voters are concerned. But yes, what you're discussing a little bit earlier, that seems to be playing a major role on the ground. That is the caste combinations. People are talking about issues. People are talking about basic amenities. But then, once again, they're also talking about who is going to contest from which party's ticket and whether or not that particular candidate is going to attract votes from a specific caste. That is something which obviously have a major role to play in these elections.
Indeed. Vishal, thank you so much for joining us there with that update from Patna. We'll keep coming back to you, of course, during the course of the next 2 months to get us the latest and to get us an on-ground report from poll-bound Bihar. On that note, of course, it's time for a short break now, but still to come. In the midst of internal bickering, LJP and RLSP announced candidates for the first phase of polls in Bihar. That and much more on the other side. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Hello and welcome to India's World. The Sri Lankans are very particular about their sovereignty, and they consider it very sacrosanct in a way.
Use our influence with the Sri Lankan Tamils.
Actually, the fire is on the Sri Lankan army, and no state can afford to have its army demoralized, as you said, after the victory.
Watch experts discuss the fallouts of war crimes in Sri Lanka in India's World on Rajya Sabha Television.
Welcome back. You're watching Rajya Sabha Television. Well, the LJP and the RLSP today announced their list of candidates for the Bihar polls. With today's announcement, LJP has announced the names of 21 out of its 40 candidates, while this was RLSP's first list with 17 names. But both announcements were not without controversy. Yes, Mo.
The Lok Janshakti Party announced candidates for 9 more seats for the Bihar Assembly elections on Monday. With this, the party has announced names for 21 of the 40 seats allotted to it as part of the NDA's seat-sharing agreement. The party has selected former MP and strongman Kali Pandey from Kuchaikot and Vijay Singh from the Chakai Assembly seat. It was at loggerheads with Jatin Ram Manjhi's HAM over the Chakai seat.
40 सीटें ऐसी हैं जिस पर लोक जनशक्ति पार्टी अपने प्रत्याशी उतारेगी, अपने सिंबल मंगला छाप पर हम लोग चुनाव लड़ेंगे। आज मैं 9 प्रत्याशियों की दूसरी सूची जारी कर रहा हूं, जिसमें कि प्रथम चरण में हमारे जितने भी उम्मीदवार हैं वो इस सूची में कंप्लीट हो जाते हैं। इसमें से 6 उम्मीदवार हमारे ऐसे हैं जो कि प्रथम चरण के हैं और बाकी एक तृतीय का, एक तृतीय का और एक चौथे चरण का है।
The announcement comes in the midst of reports of internal bickering. There was much hue and cry over Anil Kumar Sadhu, who is Ram Vilas Paswan's son-in-law, being denied a ticket. But the party says it is a family matter.
क्योंकि ये पारिवारिक मसला है, मैं इसको सार्वजनिक मंच पर मैं इसका वाद विवाद में मैं नहीं उलझूंगा। वो मुझसे बड़े हैं, मैं उस रिश्ते का, अपने परिवार की इज्जत का, दोनों का मैं सम्मान करता हूँ। इस पर मैं कोई सार्वजनिक टिप्पणी नहीं करूंगा।
Another NDA ally, Rashtriya Lok Samta Party, also announced the first list of 17 candidates. This announcement was also mired in controversy as party chief Upendra Kushwaha expressed his displeasure over BJP keeping the Meenapur seat for itself.
भारतीय जनता पार्टी ने कहा कि हमारी सिटिंग सीट है, इसलिए हम नहीं दे सकते। आप अगर सिटिंग के नाम पर मेरे दावा को नहीं मान रहे हैं तो कोई बात नहीं है, अच्छी बात है, सिटिंग है इसलिए लड़ाइए। लेकिन बाद में ऐसा नहीं हो कि सिटिंग के नाम पर आप सीट अपने खाते में लीजिए और बाद में कोई दूसरे व्यक्ति को लड़ा दीजिए।
RLSP's announcement also saw protests by those who were denied tickets. Voting for the 49 seats in the first phase will take place on October 12th. Elections are to be held in 5 phases, with the result being announced on November 8th. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
Meanwhile, former Bihar Chief Minister Jitan Ram Manjhi filed his nomination papers for the state assembly polls from Maktampur Assembly constituency today. Manjhi, the president of HAMS, was accompanied by his party leaders when he filed his nomination papers in Jehanabad district headquarters. Later, Manjhi exuded confidence that he would win the seat again.
परंपरा है, आज ये 12वां चुनाव लड़ेंगे। परंपरा है कि फर्स्ट दिन या लास्ट दिन यही मैं चुनाव के लिए नामांकन करता हूँ। आज प्रथम दिन यहाँ है और उसी प्रक्रिया के तहत 218 जाति विधानसभा चुनाव क्षेत्र से अपना नामांकन किया है और सभी साथियों का बड़ा सहयोग मिला।
Meanwhile, NDA ally Shiv Sena on Sunday announced that it will contest 150 seats in the upcoming Bihar elections alone. Denying allegations that it has targeted migrants from Bihar and Maharashtra, the party said it wants to strengthen its support base in the Hindi belt and has decided to go it alone in the state. The party's national spokesperson Sanjay Raut said that the process for selection of Shiv Sena candidates for Bihar was nearly complete and the first list will be out soon. Shiv Sena will seek the mandate of the people of Bihar on the agenda of Hindutva, poverty alleviation and employment generation for the local people, amongst others.
150 प्लस 150 से ज़्यादा कम नहीं, तैयारी हो चुकी है। सभी चरणों में हम चुनाव लड़ेंगे। पूरी पार्टी यहाँ ताकत से उतरेगी। सभी नेता यहाँ आएंगे। पूरे बिहार में हम धूमधाम से चुनाव लड़ेंगे। बिहार एक ऐसी सुवर्ण भूमि है, यहाँ का सोना यहाँ रहेगा, यहाँ की मिट्टी यहाँ रहेगी और यहाँ के बेरोजगारों को यहाँ काम मिलेगा। यहाँ के भूमिपुत्रों को ताकत और प्रतिष्ठा मिलेगी जो मुंबई में मिलती है, महाराष्ट्र में मिलती है। यही हमारा एजेंडा है और हिंदुत्व तो सबसे ऊपर रहेगा।
Well, let's go across now once again to Shaibal Gupta, who's a member secretary, Asian Development Research Institute, who's still with us from Patna. Shaibal, you know, as far as the NDA is concerned, there are a couple of allies, mainly the LJP and the RLSP, who are unhappy with certain things as far as seat sharing is concerned. Now, even the Shiv Sena has decided to contest in these polls. How much of an impact is it really going to have on the BJP?
As far as Shiv Sena is concerned, I think it will have no impact. I think as far as bickering within LJP and RLSP, I think it will have some impact, but I think by the time the filing of the nomination takes place or the filing dates are over, I think things will get resolved. You see, essentially there is no antagonistic contradiction between the parties within the NDA formations. So I don't think there will be a major problem. But as far as the Shiv Sena is concerned, Shiv Sena is practically marginal party. It will have no impact. Even if they put up 150 candidates as they have pronounced, it will be able to cut some votes of the NDA, but it will not be a major thing. So in that case, it may be dividend for the Mahagathbandhan if they succeed. But I don't think that will be a major problem. Major inroads they will be able to make.
All right. Shaibal Gupta, we'll have to leave it at that. Thank you so much for joining us on the program this evening and sharing your expertise on the Bihar polls. Meanwhile, the RSS has called for a review of the reservation policy, slamming the quota system as a political tool. The remarks were criticized by the opposition parties, renewing their call to release the caste census data. In Bihar, parties like the JDU and the RJD have been raking up the caste factor in their rallies in the run-up to the assembly polls. Here's more.
Caste remains a dominant factor in the Bihar Assembly elections, and the forthcoming assembly poll promises to be no exception. Parties have been wiping up the caste sentiment in rallies across the state. RSS added a bit of fuel to that. Its chief Mohan Bhagwat suggested a review of the reservation policy. Referring to the quota stir in Gujarat led by Hardik Patel, Bhagwat suggested a committee of civil society members to decide who should get the benefit of the policy. His remarks had a ripple effect in Bihar, where parties have been calling for the release of latest caste census data. They slammed Bhagwat's suggestions and also targeted the Modi government.
Why isn't this Modi government releasing the caste census? I challenge them to release the caste census, and the whole world will come to know what is the actual reality. And then the OBCs will decide, because the true face of this government is slowly coming out, that they are wanting Hindu consolidation to ensure that OBC reservation and other reservation comes down.
Every time there is an election, there is a double speak by the RSS and the Bharatiya Janata Party. And today, even the Prime Minister is speaking a different language. He spoke about the Mahadalits, the Dalits, and the OBCs, to which he belongs. Let them review their position on reservation first, before sermoning to the nation on what should be the position on reservation.
जो लोग भारत की एकता और अखंडता को तोड़ना चाहते हैं, जिनका संवैधानिक संस्थाओं में विश्वास कम है, वो लोग और वो संस्थाएं ही इस तरह के वक्तव्य देने पर तुली हुई हैं।
Janata Parivar is aiming to consolidate the backward class votes that had propelled Chief Minister Nitish Kumar to power. Both Nitish and his ally RJD Chief Lalu Prasad have proposed Mandal 2.0 politics in an attempt to keep BJP and its allies out of power in the state. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
And before we wrap the show today, time now to look at what else is making news in poll-bound Bihar in our segment Polpuri. Former Chief Minister and Hindustani Awam Morcha Secular President Jitan Ram Manjhi announced the list of the remaining 7 assembly seats on Sunday. At a press conference held at his residence in Patna, Manjhi said that the party has given tickets to 4 women candidates, 6 tickets to Dalit candidates and 4 tickets to minorities. HAMS, a constituent of the BJP-led NDA, released the first list of 13 candidates last week. A family feud came out in the open during the Bihar polls after the Lok Janshakti Party leader Ramvilas Paswan denied a ticket to his son-in-law Anil Kumar Sadhu. In retaliation, Sadhu revolted against the LJP and called his brother-in-law Chirag Paswan a flop Bollywood hero. Finance Minister Arun Jaitley rubbished Bihar Chief Minister Nitish Kumar's claim that the 14th Finance Commission recommendations have not yielded more funds to Bihar. Jaitley said that the total transfer to the state during the next 5 years will actually increase to 4.08 lakh crore rupees. Jaitley also said that the Prime Minister's 1.25 lakh crore rupees package for Bihar will translate into more concrete outcomes at grassroots levels. This edition of Verdict 2015. Thank you so much for watching. We'll be back again same time tomorrow for all the latest on poll-bound Bihar. Keep watching Rajya Sabha Television.